they're both superheroes, but he has real powers, and Batman is human. But he has a lot of money, so that he has that going for him. I'm not sure, but let's go with Superman. Oh, this one was from last time because Superman has a better costume than Batman. That one was funny. Superman because he has powers and can do anything. Doc Brown, I think period 2 is on the Superman side. I think
We
Superman.
can't all be correct, so it's
Yeah,
fine.
it's all right. And again, this is just an opinion. There's no right or wrong.
See, Big Daddy Wayne, come on, Big Daddy, like whoever wrote that, you are awesome.
Batman because of kryptonite. You know, kryptonite is hard to find, so unless he has a stash of it somewhere.
Yeah, I always love how randomly, like how rare kryptonite is, but yet all the bad guys can find it. I never
know,
understood
that's
that.
true. Yeah. But you guys are so funny. Superman because he's an alien from another planet, and Batman is human. But this one takes it for today. Big Daddy Wayne. All right, you guys. Thank you.
I'm just saying, Batman is way better. It's fine. It's fine.
That's right, Doc. I agree.
See?
Ooh,
So much cooler.
You got someone on your side. Okay, he has money. He can buy all of his cool gadgets and cool cars and everything, but Superman doesn't need any of that. No, just
all he needs is some stupid glasses.
All right. Thank you guys for participating in that. We will be reading your responses, Doc Brown and I. So if there's anything you wanted to share with us, feel free to let us know. But again, we care about you. We support you. We want to support you in any way that we can. So let us know how you're feeling. And we'll have more of these coming up as we go. All right. We are going to be moving on to your Desmos activity. So I'm going to drop that link in the chat. But if you are in Google Classroom and you want to know how do we get to these assignments, we've gotten that question a lot. Where's the link? How do I find the link? How do I get to my homework assignment? Everything is in Google Classroom. It is in your classwork section. So if you go to your period 5, quarter 4, click on classwork. And what you want to do is go to week 2. This is our current week here. What you want to do is count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I counted too much. 4. Okay. We're going to be working on your class toothpick patterns. So if you're in Google Classroom, you can click on that. If you click on this link, it takes you directly to this activity where it says Docs Toothpick Patterns 1. You'll want to log in, but if you are logged into Google Chrome, it automatically just does the same here for you where it says your name. You click go and it takes you there. But I am going to go ahead and drop this link in the chat if it's faster for you guys to get there that way. So the link is in the chat. Click on it. It'll take you to that Desmos activity. But again, you do want to know how to access that through Google Classroom as well. All of your assignments are here. You don't need to be asking us for links. You can go here on your own when you're not in class and just click on these assignments. All right, so your activity is paused for now. Let me go ahead and open it up over here. There we go. So I'll give you guys a minute or two to join us in Desmos. Here we go. Nope. There we go. All right, Melissa, thank you for joining us. Marifed, thank you for joining us in Desmos. All right, I see Jessica, Lisette, Isaac, Jimena, Emily, Jade, Kimberly, Alexis, Natalie, Catherine, Kyra, Daniel. Oh, a couple more of you coming up. All right, while we wait for a couple of you to join us, I'm going to go ahead and unpause this activity, and I'm going to restrict you to just one slide for now. So if you're already in, we got a couple more of you joining. Good, good, good. Okay, if you're having any technical difficulties, please let myself or Doc Brown know through the chat. Let me bring that up. There we go. Let us know so that way we understand why it is that you're not in the Desmos activity. If you are having technical difficulties, this is still supposed to be completed, but you can complete it after class or whenever you can. And I'll let you take screenshots of whatever it is that we have up here on the screen completed. But you guys are great. Thank you for joining us there. All right, here we go. So this is our first Desmos activity coming back into this new semester. But you guys have worked on one of them last semester, and if you're not too familiar with it, that's okay. It's not too complicated to understand. I'll walk you through a couple of steps. But really quickly, very similar to your Classic, you have some tools here. For example, you have the pencil tool that lets you write on any of these sheets here that come up. But you can also go ahead and change the color of your pencil. For example, in this slide, we might want to work with the color red since we have this pattern A in the red color, and you might want to switch over to a black color for your pattern B. Do you have to? No, it's just little helpful hints, tricks here. You can also add lines. There's also the eraser mode. So if you make a mistake and you want to erase it, you can. There's also a text box if you would prefer to type in your text here, that's fine. And there's also some math toolkit we can use here. But let me get you guys started here with the directions. So it says, write the number of toothpicks next to each figure and draw the fourth figure for pattern A and pattern B. So I know when I first saw this activity, I looked at these shapes and I said, where are the toothpicks? I don't see any toothpicks. We do have little toothpicks here. They're forming the sides of these shapes. So for example, if I'm looking at pattern A, at this figure 1, the first picture, these sides here that are forming the triangle are our toothpicks. So all you would have to do is write the number right next to it. So I'm going to pick the red color and I'll look at pattern A, figure 1. This has 1, 2, 3 toothpicks that are making up this shape. So all you're doing is counting the toothpicks in each figure, and you're trying to find a pattern that'll help you determine the next figure here. So take a look at your shapes, take a look at the toothpicks. What is going on in these patterns that are going to help us draw the next pattern here? You're going to want to do the same with pattern B. When I look at pattern B, I notice that this first figure has 1, 2, 3, 4 toothpicks that make up this shape, which is like a tilted rectangle, or we can call it a diamond that has 4 toothpicks that make it up. When I look at figure 2, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 toothpicks in this one. I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes to fill in the rest of these numbers here, to count your toothpicks and to draw your fourth figure for both pattern A, and you want to do the same for pattern B. All right, let's take a look and see how you guys are doing. If you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself, let us know, or type them in the chat to either myself, Doc Brown, or to everyone. All right, let's see. Ooh, Marifer, good job. Keep going. You're doing awesome. You've already found your pattern and you're finishing up your drawings there. Emily, good job. Ooh, you decided to type it instead of actually write it out. So good. Oh, a lot of you are choosing to type instead of using your pencil.
It's hard to write.
That
Typing is just so much easier.
That is true. I forget you guys are on the iPads and it might be a little easier to type it out for you guys. All right.
Yeah, don't forget to do that last row, guys. So you should be drawing yourself either triangles or diamonds.
Yeah. So let me help you guys out with pattern A. Most of you already seem to catch on to this pattern, and you're just trying to figure out what the drawing would be. So for pattern A, I noticed that there are 1, 2, 3 toothpicks that make up this triangle. If I look at figure 2 in pattern A, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 toothpicks that make up that figure. Moving on to the third figure, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 toothpicks. So 9 toothpicks here. If we're trying to draw the next pattern here on figure 4, we would have to look at what is going on between all of these figures here. The first one had 3 toothpicks, the second one had 6 toothpicks, and the third one has 9 toothpicks. So is there anybody that would like to share with us either on chat or you can unmute yourself? What kind of pattern do we have going on here in the red toothpick side, the pattern A? Yeah, good. It's adding 4. You could say adding 4. You could say going up by, oh, sorry, adding 4, adding 3. It's adding 3. You could say going up by 3. So that already gives us a hint as to how many toothpicks we should have in figure 4. So from 3 to 6, it went up by 3. 6 to 9, it went up by 3, which tells us our next figure should go up by 3, which should have a total of 12 toothpicks. Another example is that there's 1 triangle in the first figure, there's 2 triangles in the second figure, there's 1, 2, 3 triangles in the third figure, which tells us we should have 4 triangles in the fourth figure. So you guys did great with that first pattern. We're going to take a look and see how we could complete that fourth figure in pattern B. So very similar to pattern A, you want to take a look at your figures here. Figure 1 had 4. When we moved on to figure 2, we counted 8 toothpicks. And moving on to figure 3, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 toothpicks. So both of these patterns look different, and both of these patterns have different amount of toothpicks in each figure. So to help us with the fourth figure, you can look at your patterns again. Good job, Marifed. Kimberly, ooh, you're almost there. Ooh, thank you. Yes. I'll get to that right there. Yes, you're correct. Good job. Yeah, so I was about to ask if anybody wanted to share what pattern we have for pattern B, but adding 4, going up by 4 is correct. So for us to go from 4 to 8, we can add 4, and for us to go from, yeah, you're right. Let me see. Yes, it's perfect. All right, so 4 to 8, we can add 4. For us to go from 8 to 12, we would add 4 again, which means if we're looking at the fourth figure, if we keep using our pattern, 12 plus 4 gives us 16. So we should have a total of 16 toothpicks here. But what would your figure look like? Look at the pattern that's also going on in your figures. You have 1 diamond here. You have 1, 2 diamonds here. 1, 2, 3 diamonds here, which means this would probably be 4 diamonds. That gives us the 16 toothpicks. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've always been really bad at drawing shapes. You guys, Marifed, you're awesome at drawing these. Yes, go ahead. So a lot of you, ooh, Kimberly too. You guys are great. Mine don't look very nice, but I try. All right, so that is what our fourth figure looks like. There should be 16 toothpicks. We're on the same boat. You and I are twins. All right, so, but I don't think yours are bad. All right, so yeah, good job, you guys. You guys found a pattern here. We're going to use that pattern to learn a little bit more about our current topic, which is our linear equations unit. So I'm going to open up the next slide and let you guys move on to slide 2. To get to slide 2, you just go right up here where it says next. It'll let us access this new page here. So go ahead and move along to page 2. We're going to be working a little bit more with these patterns, but in a different format. All right, here we go. So slide 2, what is slide 2 asking us? Well, it's saying enter the Y values, meaning the number of toothpicks from patterns A and B. There's 2 sections to this. We'll focus on the first one for now, and then we'll try the second one in a bit. But you're also going to write expressions in lines 2 and 4 for each of these. You don't have to necessarily worry about this part for right now, but we'll try the first section here. So to enter the Y values, meaning the number of toothpicks, you're looking at these tables here. Notice the colors, they still correspond to the same patterns. Our pattern A was in the red color. Our pattern B was in the black color. So all this is meaning is if you are going to fill in the Y values, you want to fill in the number of toothpicks each figure had. So the X here, the 1 represents your first figure. In pattern A, how many toothpicks did you have for that first figure? Well, there were 3. So you would just type in 3. How many toothpicks did you have in the second figure? Well, if you're not remembering, you can always go back to slide 1 and check how many toothpicks we had here. There were 6. So we can go ahead and type in 6. In your third figure, how many toothpicks did you have? Let me know here. Then in the fourth figure that we came up with and drew ourselves, how many toothpicks did we have there? You want to repeat this same process with pattern B. Remember, pattern B started off with 4 toothpicks here. Oops, not 5. 4 toothpicks there. And then our second figure had 8 toothpicks there. So go ahead and complete these tables here. And some of you are already doing a great job. While you guys are working on that, just want to let you know that sometimes if you zoom out too much, we don't really get to see what's going on. Or some of you might have zoomed in too much where we are completely lost and you're looking for your dots and they're nowhere to be found. If that happened to you, all you have to do is click on that little house. What that little house does is it just resets the image here, your graph, and you can see it clearly where it should be. All right, let's take a look and see how you guys are doing. All right, a lot of you already have these values in. I see some of you, and we can see that some of you are zoomed in a little too much and you've probably lost your points. That's totally fine. Don't forget, click on that little house here where it says default zoom. It basically resets the graph and you're able to see it. There you go. Again, if you're having any questions, let us know. We love to help out. All right, for those of you, well, for everyone, we are going to try to write an expression for these here. So once you have your tables completed, you should go type these in 3, 6, 9, 12. And if you were brave enough to try the 5th one, we didn't have a picture for the 5th one, but think of our little pattern that we talked about. It was going up by 3 each time. So 12 plus 3 would give us 15. Notice that every time we put in our y values here, we got our dots that correspond to that table. Okay, so the dots automatically appear here once you put in your values, so you don't have to worry about putting in dots. It already does it for you. For your B pattern, we had 4, 8, 12, 16, and if you were brave enough to put in a couple more values here, you would keep using your pattern and it would bring you to 20. Okay, so at this point, they want us to write an expression in lines 2 and 4. This isn't something that you're necessarily, that we're expecting you to already know how to do. This is more of just exploring and trying to see if you guys remember, perhaps from 8th grade, how to write an equation. In the table. So click on the Y's here. So see where we have this Y. If you click on there, it should let you type. You don't need to do anything on the graph. You just need to type here in the table. Let me know if that helped. Okay, good. All right, so for those of you that are ready to try this expression, I'll give you a little hint. When you look at these dots, let's look at just the red one here. The red one is showing us a straight line. If we were to connect these dots, we would see a straight line. When we look at the black dots, if we were to also connect that, we would also be getting a straight line. So both of these patterns that were going up by 3 or going up by 4 gave us straight lines. But we can always write equations for any of these straight lines we have. And some of you might remember this form. It was y equals mx plus b. This is from 8th grade, which we're actually going to be working on this in a couple of weeks that are to come. Not quite yet, but we're going to build up to that level. But some of you might remember, you might want to try writing the equation. This m here, you can plug in any number you want. Let's just say 2. And b, I can plug in any number I want there too. And that gives me a line. And see this red line? What you want to do is try to match it on top of these red dots. So you can play around with any of these numbers here and see if it works. Notice this red line connected the black one and the red dot. That's not what we want. We want to make sure we connect all of those red dots here. So you can play around with that equation and see if you get a match. Change the number in the front too to, I don't know, 5x maybe. Try any number there. See if you can come up with anything. Do you have to get it? Nope, don't worry if you're not getting it. You can also try that for the black one. Good job, you guys. You guys are like, I'm going to try to get it. Some of you are close.
Yeah, some have it like on one dot.
Ooh.
And then they just need to line up the others.
Yeah.
Oh, oh, no, you had it.
All right. While some of you are working on that, I do want to point out a couple of things. Oh, somebody's really. Oh, I think Marifer got one. Oh, you're so close. See how it's a little tilted above? You might want to change something there. All right. What we do want to pay attention to in these tables, if you're not getting those equations, not a problem at all. We do want to make sure you're paying attention to the tables, okay? What's going on with your y values here? Does that match what's going on with your graph? When you're looking at your y values here in this table, does that also match what's going on in your graph? How are these the same? How are they different? Ooh, Natalie, I think you got it. Oh, you're really close. But think about why you're really close. All right. You guys are really trying. You're like, I want to get it. All right. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and move you guys along. So the point of this activity is not necessarily being able to write an equation. That's just a little preview of what's to come in the next coming weeks. We will get you to the level where you can write these equations. Okay, so don't worry too much about that. But what I do want you to focus on is, how do we see that pattern in these tables? The same pattern we saw in slide 1, is that still present here? Can we still see that in the first table? Can we still see that in the second table? And can we still see it in the graph? Notice that your black dots here are always on top or higher than your red dots. So pay attention to that. I'm going to go ahead and open up the next slide. So move along to the next slide by clicking on next. I want you guys to do a little bit of writing. So our first period students were all about writing, which is surprising because this is a math class and what we have to write. Yeah, just a little bit, but not too bad. We're just writing what we see. On slide 3, if you guys move along to slide 3, don't worry too much about that equation. Thank you for trying. On slide 3, you see 2 questions that we want you to think about and write some answers here too. Explain why the toothpick pattern A has a different rate of change than toothpick pattern B. Okay, rate of change is just basically the speed or how fast something is changing. So think about how your figures, your pattern A was changing, how it was going up. Think about how pattern B was going up. How were they different? Why do you think the black dots were above the red dots? Think of how they were different and explain it here. Give it a shot. Also, try out the second question where it says, explain how you can see the rates of change in the table, the graph, and the toothpick patterns. Don't forget, rates of change is how something is changing, how something is increasing or decreasing. So how could we still see those patterns in our tables, in our graph, and in those toothpicks? So I'll give you guys about 2 minutes here. Good job, you guys. So I'll start you off with a little bit here. Pattern A is different from pattern B, or sorry, pattern A's rate of change is different from pattern B's rate of change because, give us anything you got there. Ooh, good job, Jessica. Very good. Good job. Yeah. Jimena, very good. Emily, you're doing great. All right, let's take a look at how some of you guys are doing. So some of you are telling me that pattern A's rate of change is different from pattern B rate of change because rate A is going up by 3 and pattern B is going up by 4. Yeah. How are they different? One is going up by 3, one is going up by 4. Very, very good. Ooh, one that I see here is the difference between pattern A and B is that pattern B has higher numbers. Yeah, that's true. If we were to go back to your tables or to your images, this has 3, 6, 9, and 12. We have pattern B 4, 8, 12, and 16. So
This is gonna fall.
so in pattern B, we do seem to be getting higher numbers. Oh, yeah, good question. One of you is asking, is it because B is using more toothpicks? That's a very good observation. That's something that you can talk about the difference there. So pattern B uses more toothpicks, which means if they're using more of the toothpicks, they're going to be having more toothpicks in each figure. Good job, yeah. Perfect. Pattern B has bigger numbers than pattern A. You guys are awesome. All right, so going back to this here, explain why toothpick pattern A has a different rate of change than the toothpick pattern B. I love your guys' responses. Some of you are saying because pattern B used more toothpicks in figure 1. So you could say that pattern A is increasing or going up by 3 while pattern B is increasing or going up by 4. Good job, you guys. All right, so let's take a look and see what you guys wrote for explain how you can see the rates of change in the tables, the graphs, and the toothpick patterns. So in this one here, what you really want to talk about is go back to slide 2. How do we see that all of these different representations, the figures in slide 1, the tables, and the graph show us the pattern, the rate of change? Do we see the same pattern here in 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 as we see in these graphs? So talk about the graph, talk about the tables, talk about the pictures. How do we still see that pattern? Good job, Jessica. Jimena, you're doing awesome. Okay, one thing I do want to clear up, the black points here, these are still linear, they are still forming a line. So take a look at your values here. Maybe we inputted them wrong. It should be 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. Those were our patterns going up by 4. All right. But very, very good. Okay, so really quickly here, I just want to point out that in slide 1, we see that pattern A has the numbers 3, 6, 9, 12. Some of you are telling me that. Pattern B has 4, 8, 12, and 16. We still see those exact same numbers in our tables, 3, 6, 9, 12. We also see that here. Oh, here we go. In our points, the 3, the 6, the 9, the 12, and the 15. So we still see that each of these here show us that they're going up by 3. How do these points show us that they're going up by 3? Look at this, count vertically. We see 1, 2, 3 to get to the next point. If I count again, 1, 2, 3 to get to that next point, I'm still going up by 3 each time. So we're still seeing that rate of change in both of these. And also notice, why are the black dots always on top or higher than your red dots? We usually call that steepness. So the fact that one is higher than the other line, they have a different steepness, okay? So these were all things we wanted you to get to. And while you guys are finishing that up, some of you are still giving me responses there. Let me double check on one thing. Oh, Natalie, very good response. You can see that they have a different amount of toothpicks. Pattern A has pattern of 3, 6, 9, 12, 16, while pattern B's pattern is 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. And you can see the rate of change as well where they rise. Very, very good. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and stop here. Since we're done with this activity, we're not doing slide 4, although there is 4 slides here. We're not gonna worry about slide 4 for now. What I want you guys to do is, we're all done with this, so I want you to go back to Google Classroom. I want you guys to go back to your assignment here where it says toothpick patterns. Click on that. Where it says view assignment, go ahead and turn it in if you're completely done with all of them. If for some reason you were not able to complete it, I'll go back and let you take screenshots of what I had on my screen here. Again, I don't have all of the answers on the screen because this is more of just exploring, and we weren't looking for a right or wrong answer. We were just trying to see what you guys could come up with. So take a screenshot of slide 1. This will help you complete slide 1. No, we're not going to page 4, so you don't have to worry about page 4. Go ahead and take a screenshot of slide 2 if you were not able to complete it because of some connection issues. And I'll let you take a screenshot of slide 3, where you were trying to explain how the rates of change in the grid were still apparent in all 3 representations, table, graph, and toothpick patterns. Okay, we still see each of these representations going up by 3 or going up by 4. All right, let's take a look. So again, go back to Google Classroom. Thank you to those 5 of you that have turned it in. You're just going back to Google Classroom, view assignment, and then for you, you should see a little option on the left or right-hand side that say turn in or submit. All right, well, you guys are working on that. We're going to be moving along to our notes from our notebook that we were working on yesterday. Here we go. I'm going to drop that link for you guys in the chat. So if you're ready, go ahead and click on that link. It'll take you to your ClassKick app or to the website. If you're using the website, make sure you're using Google Chrome. You don't want to be on Safari. It gives you trouble or gives you issues if you're on Safari. It's better to use Google Chrome.
Never use Safari, ever. Like, oh my God, never. Just use Chrome. Safari is horrible. Same thing with like Microsoft Explorer. If you're on a Windows computer, never use that either.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close that. Okay, so that link in the chat is going to take you to your notebook, to your week 2 notebook. I'm going to go through Google Classroom. You can still access that to Google Classroom. It's the last option. When you're going into your to your ClassKick notebook, please log in. If you didn't log in yesterday, then what you should be doing is typing in your name exactly the same way as you did yesterday. I believe I typed in the 5. See, fingers crossed. I'm pretty sure I typed in exactly the same. It should show me my saved work. If you don't see anything, which I didn't. See, this is what happens.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh no,
so
you didn't do this first page. Do the second page. Look at the
Oh.
second page.
You're right. No.
Oh, nope. You failed.
See, well, this serves as an example to you guys. I think I remember what happened. I think I might have put.
Did you put a space?
Period
You put
two.
a space. Oh, no, you put 5,
5?
maybe. I don't know anymore.
Let's see.
See,
You're
we
gonna
get that.
Yeah, we get this exact same message here. Sorry, your work is open on another device. That's gonna happen if you were, oh, and see how I have 2 tabs open for ClassKick? That happens. It's kind of like a safety feature. We don't want you to be on 2 devices at once because, wait, go to login. There we go. We don't want you to be on 2 devices at once. It tries to prevent you from cheating. Not that we're accusing you guys of cheating. Can't really
No,
cheat on your
ClassKick.
notebook.
ClassKick is accusing you guys of cheating.
Oh, I know why now. After we were done with class yesterday, I realized that I had joined the ClassKick notebook under period 4 when it was period 5. So I had typed in Miss Gomez 5 for period 4.
Oh,
That's why. So it's all right. See, very important that you're typing in the same name each time. Your work won't save, but I'll go ahead. This is the page we're going to be working on today. It's page 3. So we are actually going to be looking at a graph and calculating slope, okay? Doesn't let you put next in ClassKick. Oh, no. I see what you're saying. In Desmos, you do not have to do slide 4. Everybody should be joining us actually right on ClassKick on that link. I'll drop it in there again. Don't worry about slide 4. We're done on slides 1 through 3. You are not responsible for slide 4. So once you're done with slide 3, you just need to turn that in. But you should be joining us on ClassKick. So don't worry about slide 4. All right, give me a thumbs up if you're in our ClassKick side here and you are able to see your notes. Give me a clap if you would like more time. All right, good job, you guys. All right, so for today, we are going to be diving in a little deeper to our slope. And we're going to see how does this all connect to this Desmos activity we worked on just now? Because we're still in our linear functions unit, and you saw that all these points connect, if we were to connect them, connected to a straight line. So we saw that word rate of change come up. We've talked about slope yesterday and what slope means, but just think about what was going on here in your Desmos activity. There we go. When we saw that word rate of change, we were talking about basically how were these increasing? How were they going up? Okay, we noticed the first one had a rate of change of going up by 3. The second one was going up by 4 each time. When both of these lines were stacked on top of each other though, we saw that one was higher than the other. We call that steepness. But why was it higher? Well, even in our graphs, we saw that our vertical here, our vertical change was going up by 3 each time. To get from one point to another, we had to count up by 3. To count from one point to another on this graph, we had to count up by 4. So when we see that one was increasing faster, higher, or was higher than the other, we're really looking at steepness there. And that's what we talked about yesterday. That slope is the steepness of a line. Okay, we actually got to see why one was steeper than the other. But when you're looking at graphs where you don't see the tables, you don't see patterns, you want to figure out which one's steeper than the other. And you can't just say that by looking at them. There's actually a way for us to calculate it. So don't just say one is steeper than the other. We actually want to measure the steepness of all the lines we have on graphs. So for today's notes, we're going to be looking at slope. We're determining the slope of a line when you have a graph. So by the end of this lesson, you should be able to say, I can determine the slope of a line on a graph. So this is today's objective. We're going to move on over to your class kick notes and carry that objective over to the top of your page. So by the end of this lesson, we should be able to say, I can determine the slope of a line. All right, so we've talked about the word slope, and we've also seen it come up, but in a different, we had a different word that also meant the exact same thing. So when we think of slope, you are still thinking of the constant rate of change. So think of your patterns. They were constantly going up by 3 on pattern A. For pattern B, our figures were constantly going up by 4. So we also can refer to slope, and you're going to see us talk about slope a lot and sometimes refer to it as rate of change. Why is it referred to a rate of change? Because we're just really seeing how are our y's changing when our x's are changing. So think about your pattern. Your y's in the tables were going up by 3 or they were going up by 4. There wasn't a lot of change in our x's. They were just consistently going up by 1. So it was helpful because we had images, the figures, but we also had tables where we transferred those values, and we were able to see that increasing that pattern. But sometimes we're just going to be working with graphs alone, just with the line. And there's actually a way for us to find or calculate the slope of any line when we have a graph. And for that, we're going to think about some directions, or our little method of rise over run. So rise, what is rise? So think about it. When the sun rises, it comes up. So we can always rise up. If we're rising up, we're moving in the positive direction, but we can also rise down. So we come back down. So we can also find a rise that is coming down, and that would be in the negative direction. Running, rise over run. So your denominator here, you're running, you can run left or you can run right. When we're running, right, we're going in the negative direction. If we're running left, we're going in the negative direction. If we're running right, we're moving on into the positive direction. So when we're finding the slope of a line, how is our line going up or going down? We want to use some directions. We want to look for how are we rising, how are we running? So these are your directions of how to get from one point to another, and we'll talk about that in a bit. So let's go over to your class kick notebook. Bring on those pieces here for your slope. We're going to be looking for rise over run. Oh, there we go. And your run. Oh my goodness, all of my pieces came down. Oh, wait, I didn't even move them. Put up your constant rate of change there. Bring up change in y over change in x. So this is what you should have here at this point. So give me a thumbs up if you're good there. Give me a clap if you would like more time to get there. All right, good job, you guys. All right, good work. Okay, so how do we use all this information to find how this line is increasing or decreasing or going up or going down by? Or is there any increase or decrease in these? Well, pretty simple. All you have to do is follow 3 steps to find the slope of a line. So if I go back to this presentation here, whenever you have a graph, you want to start by finding 2 points on the line. Pick any 2 points that you see on this line. In this case here, I've already shown you where we have points, but I want to point out you do not want to pick any point here on this line that is in between squares that is not exactly on a perfect corner, because these are decimals. And if we work with decimals, it'll be a little harder to find yeah, that's okay. It'll be a little harder to find your slope. So I already have 4 points here that are perfect corners. All you have to do is pick any two of those points. And remember, I talked about this yesterday. Try to pick points that are closest to each other. So I'm going to pick the purple point and the blue point. So that's the first step. Pick 2 points on your line. It's helpful if you read your graph from left to right. So I'm going to be going from this purple point. If I read it from this left side, going to my right side, I'm trying to see, how do I go from this purple point over to this blue point? Well, slope, rise over run, gives us directions of how to get from one point to another. So you want to ask yourself, how much does it go up or down for me to get to that blue point? Well, if I start at this purple point and I count how much I have to go up, there we go. If I count how much I have to go up, I just go up 1 unit. So I'm moving upwards in the positive direction. So that is a positive 1 in my rise. So far we have a rise of 1. So remember, we're trying to get from the purple point to the blue point. We went up by 1. Now we have to run. So you're either running left or you're running right. But in order for me to get from the purple point to the blue point, I have to run to the right. 1, 2, 3. So I'm running 3 units. And since I'm going in the positive direction, positive is going to the right, that should be a positive number. So how much does it go side to side to get from one point to another? It goes to the right by 3. So that is a positive 3. And just by finding your directions of how to get from one point to another, you just found your slope. Rise over run. We said we went up by 1, so that's a positive 1. Then we had to run 3 to the right, so that was positive 3. So a positive 1 over a positive 3 is just 1/3. This is your slope. So if you were to pick 2 other points, let's say you didn't pick the purple and the blue. If you pick, I don't know, the yellow and the pink, then we still see that exact same pattern of going up by 1 and then running 3. See, so this line is not as steep as what you saw in your Desmos activity, because those were just consistently going up by 3 each time or going up by 4 each time. But here we're going up once and then we're running to the right 3. So that's slope. That is using your rise over run to go from one point to another. So let's go over to your class kick notes. We needed to pick 2 points on the line. You can use your highlighter to just show you that we picked the purple and the blue. Those were the 2 points. To get from the purple point to the blue point, you want to ask yourself, how much do we go up or down to get to that point? Grab your pencil, grab your pen mode, and I want you guys to actually use the red. It's color coded, so it's easier for us to see our directions. And you can count how many times you have to go up or down to get to that blue point. We don't go down here because our blue point is not down here. So in this case, we're moving up. There we go. So I am counting up by 1. So I'll put a +1 here. That was our rise. Going up by 1. So if I zoom out, we can find that +1 here and put it in for that question number 2. And then we had to find our run. Well, from here, do I run to the left or do I run to the right to get to that point? We are going to have to run to the right. So I'm going to switch my color here just to keep it consistent with my colors. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 units to the right. Again, going to the right is positive, so positive 3. So I am going to look for that positive 3 and put that in right here. So think of directions. How do we go from the purple point to the blue point? I went up 1 and then I ran 3 to the right. As soon as you have your rise over run, you have your slope. The rise was going up by 1. We ran 3 to the right, which is just 1 over 3. Okay, this is what it should look like. I'm going to zoom out for those of you that were having some technical difficulties. I got a couple of you telling me that. Go ahead and take a screenshot. This is the top. You want to make sure you're including this here. Draw your directions. Your directions are going to be so helpful for finding slope anytime. And then you should have this piece on the bottom here. So go ahead and finish taking a screenshot of that there. All right, one more thing I want to point up to you. Think about your types of slope from yesterday's activity and yesterday's lesson. Let's check our answer. Right now, we're saying our slope is a positive 1/3. A positive slope is a line that's going up. Is your line going up here? Well, if we start on the left side and I read this graph to the right side, I notice that my finger is making that upward movement. So this is a positive slope, and we can check that our fraction here is positive and that it matches. So give me a thumbs up if you're good with this page. Give me a clap if you need more time. All right, no claps. All right, we're gonna take a look at the next one here. There we go. We're gonna take a look at another line. So take a look at the shape of this line here. If I read it from left to right, what kind of movement is going on this graph? Am I going up or am I going down? Give me a thumbs up if this line is going up. Give me a clap if this line is going down. What do you guys think? Is this upwards or downwards? Ooh, good job. All right, here's another. If I were to write that word slope, is that going upwards or is that going down? Yes, so a lot of you are saying downwards. Since we have a line that's going down, we know that this is going to be a negative slope. So whatever answer we get for our fraction here, we should make sure we have a negative. All right, so let's go through your steps one more time of finding slope. You want to pick any 2 points on the line, and your points might be different than my points. So I'm going to go back over here. Here it is. You can pick any point, 2 points on here. Remember, if you pick points that are closer to each other, you don't have to simplify fractions, but sometimes we might pick points that are too far away and we'll have to simplify fractions. But I want you to notice here, this is not really a point you want to pick. What we would want to pick is these perfect corners we talked about the other day. These perfect corners are more helpful than those points in between. There, we won't be working with decimals. So you could have picked any of these points. I'm picking the first 2. So I'm picking the yellow point and that pink point. And what you want to ask yourself now is, what are my directions? How do I go from the yellow point to the pink point? So the first question is, how much does it rise? How much does it go up or down? Well, if I'm looking at my yellow point and I'm trying to get to the pink point, I'm going to go down. So how many units do I go down? 1, 2 units. And think of your movement. If you're going down, that's going in the negative direction. So that's going to be a rise of -2. We're going down 2. And now you want to ask yourself, well, how many units do I have to run? How many units do I have to go side to side? Well, I don't want to go to the left side. That's not going to get me to the pink point. I want to go to the right side to get to that pink point. And I went over only 1 time. And since I went to the right, that is positive. So that is a +1. And once again, if you found your rise and if you found your run, you found your slope, which is rise over run. We had a -2 for our rise. We went down 2 and we went 1 to the right. So that gave us a -2 over a +1, which is just a -2. Why is that? Because -2 divided by +1 is just -2. 2 divided by 1 is 2. A negative divided by a positive is a negative. So this is our slope. Last thing before I say this is my final answer, I need to think about my types of slope. A negative slope was a line that went down. We said, yes, this line is going down. So yes, this line needs to have a negative slope, which is why we get a -2. So if we go back to your notes, we're going to go ahead and finish this off by picking 2 points. If you picked different points, that is fine. You might have gotten a fraction that would be has bigger numbers and you would just have to simplify it. If you did different directions, if you decided to go if you decided to go from 1 point to the other in the reverse, so here's 1 point, here's this point. If you decided to go this way, you actually still get the same answer, but you got to be careful with your signs. And we're going to talk about more on that in the following days. So in this case, I went down 2, 1, 2. Because I'm going down, that is a -2. So I'll write -2 here. Then I had to run over 1 to the right, and because I went to the right side, that is a +1. So my slope, I want to remember rise goes over run, so that -2 goes above the +1, which just equals -2 divided by a +1 is just a -2. So this would be your slope. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and stop here. I'm gonna let you guys take a screenshot of that if you were not able to complete it.
As you guys are doing that, just I didn't mention this. I mentioned I was going to give you guys progress reports. You just got issued a progress report. Right now, it's blank. Here in the next like 15, 20 minutes, you guys will get your copy. It's just yours. No one else sees it but you. And it'll have any missing assignments that you guys got. And it has a comment on there. Please read the comment on your progress report. All of you guys got the same one. But you don't have to do anything with it. Just hit submit once you guys see your grade and what your missing assignments are. All right. But that comment that's on there is going to explain a little bit more of what you guys should expect whenever you guys get those progress reports. All right. So once you hit submit, that means that you read that comment, you read what your missing assignments are, and you know what your grade is. All right. And your exit ticket is up so that you guys can do that.
Yeah, so make sure you while you're finishing this up, that you go back to Google Classroom, you click on your exit ticket, and that you hit submit on complete that, and then hit submit. So once again, we're still working on slope. So if we weren't able to fully understand slope just yet, we still have a couple more days to that we will be working on slope. We're going to talk about how we can change directions and go from one point to another in the opposite direction. So if you aren't reading your points from left to right, that is going to change our directions. But for now, I was going left to right, okay, from one point to another. So when in the following days, we will be finishing up these notes here, and then we'll come back and you will get a your turn practice here. Let me double check on something. Yeah, okay. So we don't have any homework for today, but take advantage of this day to make sure that you actually work through those missing assignments that Doc Brown is going to show you right now in your progress report. If you have any, take the time to work on them today. Get as many assignments as you can in, and then on Thursday, we will be coming back and you will have homework assignments for that day. But make sure you work through your PBIS lesson, which I believe is already up in Google Classroom. You do have a PBIS lesson for tomorrow. And don't forget your exit ticket. But that's it for today.
And you guys can start doing that today. Like your PBIS lesson, you can do today. And then that way you don't have to worry about it tomorrow. Remember, that's participation points and your attendance. If you don't want to do it for participation points, then at the very least, send me a message that says here, anywhere, or text me or whatever.
Yeah. All right. But that's it for today, boys and girls. You are free to go. Don't forget your exit ticket. We will see you on Thursday. Come visit us during office hours if you have any questions. But we'll see you Thursday. Bye.
Peace out. Bye.
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 Hey, miss, I just need to do the your turn for the notes and then turn it in, right?
Yeah.
No,
sorry,
you don't have to do it.
No,
you will be finishing that up on Thursday. But if you can if you can do it yourself, that's fine. You can do that.
Okay. Bye.
All right, bye. There we go. Yeah, pacing wise, you did much better this time.
Thank God. Okay, so we're still recording.
Oh.